Venezuelan citizens go to the polls this Sunday to participate in a consultative referendum for the defense of Essequibo, Guyana. In Palestine, workers at the Nasser hospital in Congo struggle to keep up with the arrival of the injured and dead as Israel intensifies its attacks on the zone. And on the fourth day of the COP28 summit, 74 countries and 40 organizations endorsed the Arab Emirates statements on climate relief, recovery, and peace at the Global Climate Action Organization. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Prasawal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Venezuelan citizens go to the polls this Sunday to participate in the consultative referendum for the defense of Essequibo, Guyana. A total of 28,000 police stations have been set up in the 23 states and the capital districts, the 335 municipalities, and 1,141 parishes. Early in the morning, President Nicolás Maduro emphasized that with a consultative referendum, the voice of Venezuela will be one to solve a territorial dispossession that had been going on for 150 years. The president made his statements at the end of his voting exercise at the Escuela Ecológica Nacional Bolivariana Simón Rodríguez, located in Caracas. Also, the president of the National Electoral Council, Elvis Amoroso, informed that as of 9 a.m. local time, 97% of the polling stations in the country are already installed for the day. The national coordinator of the Comando Campaña Venezuela Toda, Jorge Rodríguez, and Executive Vice President Desi Rodríguez urged the Venezuelan people to vote united as a family for the Essequibo, Guyana. The people of Venezuela carried out a historic consultative referendum in defense of the Essequibo. For more dates and more detail, we get in contact with a correspondent, Gladys Quesada. Hello, Gladys.
Hello, Are. Yes, I'm still here in downtown Caracas, where people is still coming to vote. This is midday, mid-journey of this voting in this referendum, this consultative referendum in the Guayana Essequibo region. As we have been saying, and I know you have been reporting also, there are 5 questions in the ballot that the Venezuelans must answer yes or no. And the 5 questions are related to the current dispute between Guyana, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. So far, people are still coming here, people are still arriving to vote in the voting centers and other locations, also all over Caracas. And as you can see, there is an order in the way that people can come and check what voting table they must go to. And they are approaching with their children, with the elderly, and also with the ones that need assistance. Also, as we have been saying and stressing, this is an ordered and peaceful process that has been a democratic, joyful celebration. This has been one day of calm and peace. Also, today in the voting center I'm currently at, there was a visit of the national director of the National Electoral Council, and in this case, Rector Nogales. She was touring the facilities, touring the voting centers, and she was present here overseeing the process. She also was referring to the expression of the will of the people. She was talking that the National Electoral Council does not believe in statistics, believes in the actual voting, in the actual numbers, and in the actual will of the people. Also, she was stressing that 100% of the colleges opened at 6 a.m. in the country, and all of them were ready and with all the logistics set in place for this voting day, with all the implements, the voting machines, and also all the needed and required resources put in place for this occasion. Also, as you know, all the national authorities, the top authorities of the country, have been not only touring the voting centers, but also offering their remarks and their opinions on this process. One of them is Delcy Rodriguez, the Executive Vice President of Venezuela, who was addressing the press on the occasion of this referendum, and she was stressing the need of the government of Venezuela and Guyana to hold talks regarding this dispute and regarding the Guyana-Essequibo region. Let's listen.
Even when Maduro was a foreign minister, we have already said many times that there have to be a dialogue, there have to be whole talks. They had to resume negotiations based on the Geneva Agreement, so based on legality and peace. That's the judicial issue. So Venezuelan people are just exercising their sovereignty. Today it's a day where all Venezuelans are equal, because each citizen's vote is remarkably valuable, and it is going to remain in the history in defense of our Guyana Essequibo.
Also, the Executive Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, was praising the process and praising how all Venezuelans, without any colors, any divisions, any political affiliations or factions, were coming to vote and were coming for just one common cause of the Venezuelan nationality and the Venezuelan people, and that is to the recovery on the dispute of the Essequibo region, the Guyana Essequibo. As we know, there is a zone under request, under claim, and under dispute with the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The Executive Vice President also was saying that despite all the liabilities imposed by the ExxonMobil and the government of Guyana, Venezuela was given an example of democracy, an example of peace, and an example of concord and dialogue. Let's listen this moment.
What will do the Venezuelan people is just an impetus for the people of the region. So the Venezuelan people is an example for the world, because we are going to defend our Essequibo with lives.
So these were the remarks and the words of the Executive Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez. We know that also the President of the National Assembly, Jorge Rodriguez, have been given other statements and his opinions, his criteria to the press. And as we know, also the President, Nicolás Maduro Moros, early in the morning was inviting all Venezuelans to vote, and he was casting his vote on the first hours of this Sunday. He was also at around 6 a.m. He was presenting and going to the voting center of his jurisdiction. So far, this is the information. We will have more details. And I want to invite all our viewers, all of our audience, to our special interviews that we are going to have in the night time after the voting day closes, and with analysts, experts, and other people and figures and personalities that are present here in Venezuela during this voting day. This is my report so far. So right now I give you back the signal. So back to you.
Thank you, Gladys Quesada, for reporting for us from Venezuela on the historic date of the consultative referendum in Guyana Essequibo. We continue with more news. And we continue with more news that we're going to see right now. And the historical context that led to the first question, we tell you about this special series to understand this dispute of more than a century, which is also considered the longest in the Republican history of Venezuela. Our correspondent Medellin Garcia tells us about it.
What is the historical context that led to the formulation of the first question of the consultative referendum of December 3rd in defense of the Guayana Essequibo? We tell you in this special series to understand this controversy of more than a century, also considered the longest in the Republican history of Venezuela. I am right in front of the de facto line. The 1966 Geneva Agreements state that Guyana and Venezuela must settle the dispute friendly, pacifically, and through a practical and convenient solution for both parties. This is the Coyuni River, and on the other shore begins the Guyana Essequibo territory of almost 160,000 square kilometers that was plundered by the United Kingdom from Venezuela in 1899, in what is known as the arbitration award that was signed in Paris under deception, manipulation of maps, and fraudulent border lines.
The first world effect before the United Nations when signing the Geneva Agreement is to make it clear that the Essequibo dispute has not been solved and that the agreement, the arbitration award of 1999, was null and void and remains pending to be denounced.
And the fact is that, right there, one of the Schaumburg lines that goes from the exit to the Atlantic to the border with Brazil was staked out. Schaumburg was a German that since 1835 was staking out the territory, opening the way to the occupation of the United Kingdom and progressive plundering of the Venezuelan territory. Venezuela has in its possession a key document that over the years was declassified. It is the British Parliamentary Papers of 1840 that show the true intentions of the United Kingdom and reveal its unnatural and fraudulent modus operandi. The map shows nothing more and nothing less than gold in all the territory.
Here is the Essequibo, and look how they got in there. Look how it started. Look how they got in there, but look at the reason. Gold, 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 gold. Let's assume it was gold, and here's why they come in here.
Because of all this, Venezuelan will be asked, do you agree to reject by all means, in accordance with the law, the line that was fraudulently imposed by the Paris Arbitration Award of 1899, which sought to impose Venezuela of the Guyana Essequibo? This is one of the questions that Guyana is asking the International Court of Justice to prohibit, because it is precisely asking that the court enforce the arbitration award that disposes Venezuela of its territory in 1899. I will continue to explain the context of the question in another series.
Soy Medellin Garcia, desde la línea de facto.
Let's take a short break, but remember to join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English for the funnies in different formats, new days, and more. Other studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. On Sunday, workers at the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis, Palestine, struggled to keep up with the arrival of the injured and dead. A large number of veterans were brought to the facility of Israel, extended its military operations to the south of the Gaza Strip, and a lack of beds meant staff treated patients on the floor, which was streaked with blood and scattered with abandoned belongings. Bodies covered with blankets and sheets were laying next to those received medical attention. Heavy bombardments were reported overnight and into Sunday in the area of Khan Yunis and the southern city of Rafah. Israel ordered the more areas in around Khan Yunis, Gaza's second largest city, to evacuate. Parts of the north of the Strip also were the focus of the Israeli blistering air and ground campaign. Palestinian authorities report hundreds of people killed after mass Israeli attacks on civilians in Gaza Strip. Afral Kudra, spokesman for the Ministry of Health in Gaza, said that the largest number of victims are women and children. According to the health ministry, since the end of the humanitarian pause, approximately 178 Palestinians have been reported killed by Israeli airstrikes in several areas of Gaza. Meanwhile, the health ministry also reported that since October 7, over 15,000 Palestinians, including approximately 6,200 children and 4,000 women, were brutally killed by the attacks conducted by the occupying Israeli forces. Meanwhile, Palestinian resistance in Gaza continues to confront Israeli occupation forces that penetrate into several areas of Gaza Strip. The Al-Qassam Brigade, military wing of Hamas movement, announced through social networks the confirmation of rockets launching against Tel Aviv on Saturday night and the carrying out of Moshe's against Israeli tanks. In addition, attacks are reported against settlements of invading troops in Gaza, counterattacks in different areas of the front, as well as renewed attacks by Hezbollah and Lebanon border. On Saturday, President Mahmoud Abbas held a crucial meeting at the presidential headquarters in Ramallah with the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan. During the meeting, President Abbas briefed the ICC prosecutor on the ongoing developments in Palestine, especially in light of the persisting Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people. Abbas highlighted the acts of genocide and ethnic cleansing being carried out these days by the Israeli occupation in Gaza, as well as the ongoing Israeli violations in the West Bank, including Jerusalem. President Abbas urged Prosecutor Khan to expedite investigations and pursue legal action against Israeli war criminals responsible for crimes committed in the Palestinian territories. President Abbas called for an immediate and complete cessation of Israeli aggression to spare civilians from the devastating impacts of airstrikes, killings, and destruction caused by the Israeli war machine. Spain exports liquefied natural gas from Russia, reaching the payback this year, 2023. Local media report that Russia is the third supplier of hydrocarbons in the region, behind Algeria and the United States, with only 18.1% of the share of the gas imported into the European country. The liquefied natural gas sent by Moscow by ship is not related to the oil tankers imposed in Russia after the Ukraine conflict. Spain is the main exporter of Russian liquefied natural gas among the countries of the European nation. In Switzerland, public television has just announced a new scandal with national for repeated sexual abuse has taken place. The investigative program is a point of Swiss radio and television, RTS, reported November 19 that a listener piece of the Center of Swiss Catholicism, located in the traditional country of Valais, were involved in sexual abuse. RTS investigated for 12 weeks and based on various testimonies revealed the suspicion of abuse that also affects the head of the two institutions, two of whom have been directly implicated. The cases, most of which occurred between 1995 and 2005, have been systematically ignored or covered up by the church hierarchy. The investigation states that the 1,200 cases of sexual abuse in the country were committed by members of the Roman Catholic clergy, church employees, and members of religious communities. We have a second show break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code and screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people, constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected with TeleSUR, and final show break, don't go away. Welcome back. 74 countries and 40 organizations endorsed the Arab Emirates statements on climate, relief, recovery, and peace at the Global Climate Action Organization Summit. On Sunday, at the fourth day of the COP28 conference, the main event of the relief date is framed by recovery and peace, which is designed to increase and enhance climate action and resources of the countries most affected by conflict and humanitarian needs. The 74 countries and 40 international organizations endorsed the declaration to ensure equitable access to climate action. In addition to pledging $150 million in funding to finance and address global water scarcity. And in this context of the COP28 summit, the Coalition of Social Movements participating in the UN Climate Change Conference held the first demonstration inside a COP to denounce the war crimes committed by Israel against the Palestinian people. During the event, the names of the young people killed by Israel were remembered, and the reaction of world leaders was demanded. The president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermudez, arrived on Saturday night in Doha, Qatar. The president was received, according to the protocol, by the first deputy minister of Foreign Affairs, Sultan bin Zaha al-Muraiki. And this is the second stop of the working and official visits made by the head of states to 3 Middle Eastern nations, which will be concluded in Iran after initially staying in the United Arab Emirates. On Emirati soil, Díaz-Canel also participated in the high-level session of the 28th edition of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, at the head of the Cuban delegation, which also holds the pro-temporary presidency of the Group of 77 and China. Cuba and Qatar established diplomatic relations on December 13, 1989. The East African Community Regional Force began its withdrawal from the Democratic Republic of the Congo on Sunday morning after Kinshasa deemed it ineffective and refused to renew its mandate. The regional bloc first deployed troops in the violence-plagued region in November last year after the surgence of the M23 rebel group. Democratic Republic of Congo authorities at the time invited the EAC to deploy the forces to free the areas taken by the rebels. But the future of the deployment was thrown into doubt after the Congo President Felix Tshisekedi accused the force cohabiting with the rebels rather than forcing them to lay down arms. Following the summit on November 25, the EAC announced that the Republic Democratic of Congo will not renew the mandates of the regional force beyond December 8, 2023. A first group of around 100 Kenyan soldiers from the regional force left from Goma Airport bound for Nairobi, according to a spokesman for the force of the ground, who did not provide more detail on further withdrawals. In Pakistan, at least 9 people were killed and 25 were injured after a terrorist attack on a bus in the city of Shiraz. Local authorities reported that the incident occurred at 18:30 local time on Saturday, and also noted that the bus was shot at, then collided with a truck and caught fire. So far, 5 bodies have been identified. At first, it was reported that 8 people were dead. However, one of the injured died. Among the victims are the driver of the vehicles and 2 soldiers of the Pakistani army. We have come to the end of this brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on the website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.